When you talk about the best fighters in the world, who comes to mind? Of course, we had witnessed all-time greats like GSP, John Jones, and Demetrius Johnson, but to stay at the top and separate yourselves from the rest of the pack, you not only need the physical prowess and attributes, but a mental fortitude that is second to none. That's why although we've seen bursts of amazing talented domination, they all somehow fall off, but those that remain are cemented as legends in the sport. Recently, however, there has been an unparalleled insurgence, a wave of fighters from a particular part of the world that is redefining this entire concept of domination. The city I am referring to is Dagestan, Russia. The difference in these fighters, however, lies in every aspect. They not only possess an unequivocal array of physical power, but the mental strength for discipline and focus. Their records, almost all undefeated or close to in that regard, are dethroning all-time greats, and when you look into the eyes of these fighters, you see a chilling poise that simply no other group of fighters can produce. The start of this creed was rivaled by none other than the great Khabib Nurmagomedov, and those that followed are carrying the name with strong pursuit and have never looked back. This is the curious story of how their Nurmagomedov name sent rippling effects down the UFC and what it means for the future of the sport. The start of this dynasty goes back to the roots of Abdulmanap, the father of Khabib. Abdulmanap grew up in the mountainous region of Dagestan where discipline, physical fitness, and religion were amongst the core values. His dream wasn't to build up himself, it was to inspire, develop, and nurture the young kids of Dagestan through wrestling and religion. But it wouldn't be long before his dreams would start to take form. By the early ages of his son Khabib, he would set up sparring partners not with the other kids his age, but with wild domestic bears. Although this is widely known and kind of a meme at this point, it speaks to the sheer vision Abdulmanap had for the future of these kids, and in particular for his son Khabib. It was these fundamental values that would see Khabib transcend into the world of Sambo and MMA, where he would earn a contract in the UFC as an undefeated prospect from Dagestan, the first of his kind. From the outset, he began to dominate and maul his opponents, defeating top contenders like Edson Barboza and Michael Johnson. His style of fighting consisted of overpowering his opponents, all while telling them how much he needed the belt. Khabib quickly climbed the ranks and earned a chance for the vacated lightweight belt against Al Iaquinta, where he overpowered him for 5 straight rounds. During this career-defining moment, his first instinct was to not showboat and cheer himself on. Rather, he dropped down and prayed, reminding himself of his values and humbleness in the face of glory, a central theme that we will soon see as a commonality amongst these Dagestanis. The next steps for Khabib as champ, however, would be the true embodiment of father's plan. In the highly anticipated build-up of the fight against Conor, things between the two drew more personal than just a belt.
They appeared to just miss. Oh! Massive right to just cover up. How many shots can one man take? There's the tap. Still undisputed. Khabib Nurmagomedov.
The domination, the focus, and the willpower to go against the hottest face of the sport and submit him the way he did speaks to the unsheared force Khabib was grown up in, and this was truly the beginning that inspired millions around the world, and notably the next Dagestani generation and fighters alike. In his next title defense, he was to go up against a future Hall of Famer, Dustin Poirier, only this time alongside his father. Khabib's dream of fighting with the man that nurtured and trained him from the start to being in his corner was a moment any fighter could only dream of. He defeated Poirier via submission in an emotional night alongside his father, and Khabib earned the respect of the entire UFC community, and his dominance was showing no signs of stopping.
Абдулманап Магомедович был не только тренером, он был для нас вторым отцом.
Шахматы хорошо играл, баскетбол хорошо играл, футбол играл.
В тренировках всегда была дисциплина, строго очень. Опоздания он не любил в зале, прически большие не любил.
Я не знаю, это не описать словами, какая-то потеря. Да, это будет на протяжении всей карьеры. У нас нету этого человека, который...
Я думаю, наследие у него такое наследие, которое хватит еще намного.
Любовь к своим традициям, к к трудолюбию, уважению к старшим заложено, и мы это будем передавать другим.
Nurmagomedov, his coach, trainer, and his loving father died on July 3rd of 2020 due to COVID. This tragedy sent sorrows down the UFC, with Khabib being hit the hardest. This news devastated the champ, leaving fans even wondering what was next. Khabib stated that he would never fight without his father, but he wanted to cement his legacy for just one last dance. Like all his other fights, the outcome remained the same. A dominant, grueling performance, submitting legend Justin Gaethje, the last opponent under father's plan. In an emotional interview, Khabib put his gloves down and announced his retirement. Many supporters saw this as an end of an era. However, Nurmagomedov's dream and legacy of building out his community was not to be put at rest strictly due to his death. Khabib was the one fulfilling the legacy, and soon, the torch of Nurmagomedov would be carried out by the rest of his fighters. Islam Makhachev, raised alongside Khabib, was another product of Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov said after Khabib, it was Islam and that he will take his place. These words could not have been more closer to the truth. Islam, in his first fight for the title against another all-time great submission artist, Charles Oliveira, put on a masterclass performance, defeating Oliveira for the UFC lightweight title. Khabib, in his corner, filled with joy, carried Makhachev on his shoulders around the ring. The story was almost poetic. It's like a metaphor of a torch being sent down to the next generation to continue on the legacy. Islam was starting to become a household name, and he later defeated the likes of Alexander the Great, who ran the featherweight division twice, with the second fight ending in one of the best roundhouse knockouts of all time. His fighting stock would not just end there. In his biggest challenge to date, against the Diamond, he put on a spectacle which ended in a Dar's choke and a 3-time title defense. And at the same time as the rise of Islam, yet another one of Nurmagomedov's products were taking rise. Umar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's direct cousin, is on the front of taking over the bantamweight division. With an undefeated 18-0 record and a title shot against Merab on the 18th, Umar is on the front of becoming UFC world champ alongside his brother Islam. But the unprecedented dominance doesn't just end there. Shara Bullet and Movsar Evolov are two other Dagestanis who are coming at the UFC with full throttle, with their ambitions clear of two becoming champs. Both fighters with a prominent MMA record of 34-0 are upsetting the biggest of opponents in the flashiest of ways.
We have one problem in Dagestan now. Now everything is changed. Everybody wants to be UFC champion. You know, in Dagestan, in our gym, more than 500 kids training every day. That's why I have to show the kids, you know. They all look at me now. I have to show the good example.
The idea of legacy is not something new to these fighters. From the very moment they first touched bags, these group of men knew what was destined for them. Khabib showed that even throughout the death of the dearest man to his heart, he was still able to push through with unwavering dominance. If you're lazy, you work. If you're sad, you work. If you're happy, you still work. This is what separates these fighters from the rest, and some may call it bad for the Americanized sport, while some see it as a transcendence to MMA. Whatever way you see it, the legacy is unfolding beneath our own very eyes, with these men looking to carry on Father's plan.